So in our last video on Google Drive, we talked about how to make a whole page of templates for English paper piecing. I wanted to talk in this video about diamonds because they're kind of a special case. You can definitely make a whole page of templates like we learned to do previously, but a lot of times EPP and diamonds go together in these wonderful starry forms. And those are a little trickier to do in Drive because Google Drive doesn't really have a lot of built-in measurement tools for you to get the precise angles that you need in your diamonds. Luckily, what they do have is something called callouts. So let's fire up a new drawing document. And then here in the Shapes menu, I'm going to show you this little section called callouts, which is really just crazy starbursty things that you would use to enhance your drawing. But hidden in here are some star templates that you can use. So let's choose this simple 6-point star. Now I've got my cursor turned into a crosshair, which means of course I just click anywhere on the page and I drag the mouse to draw, and of course I'll hold down the shift key, which will keep the proportions normal. As we learned to do previously, I will also quickly remove the color and change the line weight. Now I have the basis of some diamonds. What I want to do is come up here to the tool menu and I want to select the line tool, and that again gives me a crosshair for the cursor, and then I'm going to just draw lines that connect all the inward facing points of this star. So I will begin here. I'll place my cursor as close to the point as I can see, and I'll draw my way across. And then what I like to do is draw a little past the point where the line stops, because it's much easier to see that I'm aligned with the point than it is if I have the crosshair in the way. So that extra line bit's not going to hurt you, and it makes your line a lot better. So while I have the line tool activated, I'll do the same thing, connecting the remaining two inward facing point sets of the star. And then I want to change the line weight on all these lines because obviously they're defaulting to 2-point the way Google Drive does, and I want them to be 1-point lines like the outline of the star. A quick trick for that is to hold down the Control key on your keyboard and hit the A button, and that's Select All, which you can also do under Edit. You can select all. That grabs every single thing in your drawing, and then you can easily just select the 1-point line weight in one shot and you're all done. Now, one thing that's important to know is that you were able to get the ends of these lines accurate because you drew them past the points, but where you started you may or may not have been totally accurate. So I want to zoom in to my 200% view like we did before, and then I want to grab my Select tool because that allows me to move things around. So that's this little arrow shape here. Now when I click on any one line, I can edit just that line. And once again, if I stretch it past the point, then I can easily see that it's lined up accurately with the point. And then I'll do the same thing with the other lines. That one looks pretty good, but this one is definitely off. So I'll select that one and adjust its placement just a little. The other way that I know that I've done this well is if in the center here the lines all line up precisely. And it's looking to me like we're a little bit off on the horizontal, so I'll go ahead and fix that really quick. There. Now we're good. And I'll go back here to my 100% view. Now I can just print this. I have 6 equal diamonds that I can cut apart, baste fabric to, and make a nice English paper piece star. Now when you start getting into more complex shapes, Google Drive varies a little bit from traditional English paper piecing templates, but I still think it's pretty useful. So let's try to do an 8-point call out now. I'll grab this 8-point star and again hold my shift key down, draw me a nice big star, and we'll do the usual removing color and reducing line weight. Okay, now we're ready to get the line tool again. We will draw our lines, and these go straight across. We're just connecting each inward facing point with the opposite inward facing point. Okay, we'll do our select all, switch the line weight down, and then I will go through and update these. So of course we'll go to 200 and we'll check the placement on each line and make sure they're all accurate. So once this is done, you may notice that we're not looking at perfect diamonds here. This is a different form. It's more of a kite shape than the equal-sided diamond that you could get in regular English paper piecing templates. So, Google Drive is a free tool. It's not a perfect tool, but I still think that this bears looking at because these could be interesting shapes for EPP if you wanted to make a nice star-shaped applique of some kind. Same thing applies to a 5-point star, which I mostly want to show you quickly because its drawing is a little bit different. So here's my base star. Obviously I can't draw lines from inward facing point to inward facing point here because none of the inward facing points line up precisely. What I'll do with my line tool instead is draw between the inward point and the outward point that's directly across from it. And I'll do that from each of the 5 inward facing points. Now I won't show you the whole, changing the line weight and adjusting the accuracy thing again. What this gives you is 5, again, kind of kite-shaped diamonds that you can cut apart and piece together. You can either cut along these lines that are going down the diamonds and make an even more interesting EPP, or you can just leave these sections uncut and cut just around the outline of the diamond itself. Now there's one last thing that's kind of cool to do with this tool, and that is make pointy Dresdens. So there are callouts in here of great complexity. You've got 12 points, 16 points, 24 points, 32 points, and I mean, let's face it, drawing a shape like this, that would be very difficult to English paper piece in the best of times. However, what you can do is set up your shape and draw your lines like we've been doing, and then take from your shapes menu a nice circle and make it about the size you want. And then of course you can use the red lines to tell you when you've centered it exactly in the form. I'll go ahead and just make my usual changes to that. Now I've got a template for a beautiful Dresden. I can print this, I can cut out the pieces and piece them back together. I don't have to worry about all the tiny points matching up in the center because I've covered them with a big circle. I'll just cut around these edges and they're going to make a nice Dresden shape. And that is super easy to do in Google Drive. In the next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the fact that there's no measurement tools in Google Drive and some ways to work around that.